Hey there. Welcome to the Pine Island Experience podcast. I'm Joanna Anderson with my husband, Trygve. Each of our episodes will be conversations with fellow Pine Islanders.
The goal of our podcast is to share with you our experiences, what we have found to be fun, and what makes the Pine Island experience so unique.
We were already in Cape Coral. We decided we were going to sell the house and move out of the apartments. At that point, we thought we need to have some sort of base here. I wanted to take the money that I sold the house for and I wanted to put it into another property. We obviously built the one up north, but I also wanted to, have a base for my son. I knew I didn't want it to be Cape Coral. Kevin, I looked at Fort Myers. It's beautiful, a lot of beautiful places there as well, but I really wanted something a little more unique. A realtor said, well, you guys are artists. Can I drive you to this place called Matt Lachey? You might like it. And I went on it and I thought, this place is so wild. I don't even know how to explain this place. It's not like it's like, because you can tell it's a combination of all over socioeconomically. There's very weird it's not uniformed architecturally. So I just thought this place is wild. And I told Kev, and then I swear to God, Kevin, I think I found the house. Within one day with Amanda. We have the best realtor, by the way. Shout out to Amanda. I think it took me one day to find the place we bought.
Michelle Wendt and her husband, Kevin Farley, own the unique boutique, Salt and Poppy, located in the center. Michelle was describing how they found Pine Island and decided to make it their home. Michelle is a writer and director, and Kevin is a stand-up comedian. As artists, they feel Pine Island is most like them, artsy and unique. Kevin and Michelle have fallen in love with Pine Island, and they are delighted to be part of the PI community. And now, here are Michelle and Kevin. We have with us today Michelle Wendt and Kevin Farley from Pine Island, and we are so excited you're here. We've been looking forward to this. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're so grateful. Thank you for having us.
Well, we're starting like we always do. We're going to ask you about your backgrounds, where you grew up. I know where you grew up, Kevin. But we're going to ask you about your backgrounds, where you went to school, what you've been doing. I know they're very exciting. Probably you could talk for the whole time about your background until you opened your boutique. But who would like to start?
Bird, I'm going to let you start. We call each other Bird. So, no. Birdie, you're going to go first.
Right. All right.
You're the star, dear. So let's lead with you.
All right. I'll start. My name is Kevin Farley. I grew up like you grew up. Yeah, my middle name is Prindiville. Prindiville. We actually had a guy come in the other day at the store named Prindiville. Very, unusual name. It was my grandma's maiden name, and I hated it when I was a child, but I've grown to like it. It's kind of unique. So, Kevin Prindiville Farley, I grew up where you grew up, which is Madison, Wisconsin.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, or you're Irish too, I see from the pillow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Irish also. So, I grew up on the east side, on Madison and Maple Bluff area. And went to the same high school you did, which is good, Edgewood High School. I grew up there with, we had a big family there. And so I worked for my father's company out of college. I went to Marquette over in Milwaukee, and I started to work with my father's asphalt firm as after college, which lasted about 6 years. And then I started class and touring for the Second City down in Chicago. I went down there and I did what they call the touring company. We'd go around to colleges and do improv and sketch comedy pretty much. And I would do that from mid-90s to 97, just like 3 or 4 years there. And then I moved to LA, Los Angeles, and started doing a lot of still improv over there and acting, which was sitcoms and movies and this kind of thing. And I did that for 20 years, So I was out in Los Angeles for 20 years, and then I moved to New York City in like 2017 and started to do, but I think back in 2012, I started to do more stand-up comedy, and I would do the Comedy Store and improv in Los Angeles. And then I moved to New York and continued doing stand-up, and I was always going on the road starting in like 2015 or something like that. And that kind of has been the thing that I've done so far, but I met my lovely wife when I did a play, because it was something out of my wheelhouse, and so she came to one of my shows and saw that I'd be good for this play that she had written. And it was in New York. It was a musical called Ha, the Musical, which was a musical about stand-up comedians, And so, yeah, it's perfect. So we started a romance, and we moved. We were in LA at the time, but we were doing the show in New York. And then we both moved to New York, and
That's not correct. I was in New York for 15 years. I was
Well, you were in there, but I was she was also living in LA.
That's true.
She flew back and forth.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, yeah.
For years, yeah.
And then, we got married in 2021.
We dated for a long time.
We dated for a long time, yeah. And now we moved out here in 2020, and I've been doing stand-up, since then, mostly stand-up.
Well, we left the city and built up in Hudson and then came here. We ran away from all the cities and went out.
We ran away from
up
LA.
to Hudson and down to Florida.
Yeah, COVID really drove us out.
It was COVID, sure.
Yeah. So we went to the small towns. I didn't know it was going to be this small, but we went here and then up in Hudson up north. We have a house up there too. So very quiet places. Yes. We went from the biggest cities to the smallest cities. That's kind of the way it is. And then, I'm here and I love Pine Island. We started the gift shop here and I love it.
We can tell you're happy.
No, yeah, it's beautiful.
And you still do stand up.
Every weekend I lose him.
Oh.
Yeah.
But then you come back.
And then I come back. Yeah. Then I come back. Yeah. But yeah, I'm on the road a lot. I have to we're actually tomorrow going to Canada, New Brunswick.
I'm joining him.
She's joining me this weekend.
I hope it's nice weather.
So do I, yeah. And that's the story. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
So how about your side of the story, Michelle?
My side is I was born in Chicago, and then we bounced around a little when I was younger, Connecticut, Oregon, Chicago, a couple of places. But my formative years, we settled when I was about 10 in Shaker Heights, which is a suburb outside of Cleveland. And I spent all my formative years there. We're both Catholics, Kev and I, which is kind of a big part of our marriage relationship. But I did a little bit of Catholic education younger, but then all my years from 10 up were at a prep school, which I love. And he makes fun of Hathaway Brown School for Girls.
Very fancy.
In fact, I loved people either really love I've found like their high school years or their college years. And I was it's not that I like peaked in high school and then I went downhill, but I really enjoy and have a lot of very close relationships from that girls' prep school.
It was a girls' prep
school, 50 girls a class.
Wow.
I loved it. Anyway, after that, I graduated from there and I did something very radical and I moved because it was like preppy and country clubby. And then I made some radical move and went to Santa Barbara. That was terrible. In hindsight, nothing was terrible, but it was not really a good fit for me. Nobody wore shoes and surfing and a lot of pot smoking and stuff that I'm too neurotic and kind of wasn't really my pace. But it was interesting, I guess, in hindsight. But I left for Chicago. I ran away and went to DePaul after 2 years. I went back to Chicago, and that was a Catholic college and a little more my speed.
Sure.
At the time, at least. So I did a stint in Santa Barbara. Then I went to Chicago. Then because it was my senior year in high school, my mother was involved in entertainment. My father was a businessman, but my mother was a reporter. And when I was young, she had some ties to California. It's where she's from. So I did an internship at Paramount Pictures back when shows like Wings and Cheers were on. And I did an internship my senior year, and I felt very excited about it. So I did script coverage. So when I went to college, I knew I wanted to do something in that area, writing, something like that. So I majored in that, and then I went off back to LA right out of college. And so I was in Los Angeles for a very long time. I was married prior. I had 2 children, Olivia and Leah. I have a 25-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son who's Junior at Bishop Furrow. But during the time that, and my ex was an attorney, so he was very there. But my job brought me out between the two cities a lot. And I missed the East Coast being in LA. I was kind of never did well on these West Coast. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of always missed this side. And I should mention my ex also lived in Shaker, and he did his formative years at the boys prep school. So I kind of thought he would, but he didn't. So I said, well, I need to have a piece of, something there. So we did get an apartment in New York, 2000, and my son was born in 2005. I think we got the apartment in 2007. A little walk up in the Upper East Side that I loved. A little, what is it, pre-war or post-war when there are only 3 stories? Those little ones.
I don't know.
Those are the ones that, they're not the high-rises, the little ones that you've seen the Woody Allen movies. Yeah. I had one of those in the Upper East Side, 3 flights up, and I had it from 2007 to 2021, and I loved it. Yeah. Anyway, as time moved on, I started to do more things in New York, sort of on purpose. But our kids were obviously in LA. But when my daughter got old enough, I was so psyched. She wanted to go to high school in Manhattan. Yay, that means more time there. So she went to this school called the Professional Children's School. Because my son was in a Catholic school in LA, I would go 2 weeks there and 2 weeks and 2 weeks and 2 weeks through her high school life. 2 weeks there, 2 weeks back.
Oh my gosh.
So I was bicoastal for all that time. And then at some point, like Kevin mentioned, around 2013, when my father died, 2013, when I separated from my ex, I was in the middle of doing my first musical, and I knew I wanted it to be in New York. And I had a tie into the comedy world. I'm a writer. I've done comedy writing and have a lot of experience with stand-up comedians for garden variety reasons. My sister was with one for 10 years. A lot of my assistants were stand-up comedians. I'm a comedy writer. So I was fascinated by the world and their psychology, which is interesting psychology, stand-up comedians. So I thought it was really fun to delve into that. And so I was on the show called The Doctors while I was writing this show about comics, but I knew I wanted to do it in New York. So around 2014, that's when I started casting it. And I was going to do only New York City comics. But my friend liked a comic named David Spade in the LA neighborhood. She said, we want to see. I go, I don't want to. Don't you want to go and see? Because you're doing a show about comedy. I said, only New York comics. I don't want any LA comics. 0. I don't want to fly them out. I don't want to deal with them. I like my New York comics. And by the way, they are different vibration. New York stand-up and LA stand-up guys, maybe he'll speak to that. They have different personalities. But Kevin was there. Uh-huh. And Kevin was there. And I said to my friend at the time, oh, thanks. This is a perfect guy for the part that I need. This is great. And I went up and I spoke to him and he said something totally awful, like, call my manager, like something like that. And so LA, yeah. By the way, exactly why I don't like LA comics. Like, speak to my manager.
I used to be a pretty big deal.
But come on, it's just it's the LA way versus the New York way where you can approach everybody and they don't care. But LA comics typically are also actors and they have all these other barriers. But anyway, he ended up doing it, and it really was not something he would normally ever do, but he did. And we were friends first, and the show did very well, and it went off Broadway, and it was really fun. Right, Bert?
A lot of fun.
Anyway, I remained in LA and New York throughout the whole time and I kept my apartment up until 2018, and my son, was going back and forth, and then I was going to I did a second musical that I brought my son to New York for a semester because I didn't want to leave him that long. So during that time is when COVID hit. And that's when it was like, oh my God. So as Kevin said, it got really weird there in the city. LA got really weird. I had my house from 1998 till 2021 in West Hollywood. I owned the same house. So I'm used to being in the same, I'm kind of like a little bit of a habitual person. Mm-hmm. So it was wild for me to sell my house and leave my apartment. But we did it. I think if we hadn't done that, Kev, I don't know, because we're weird people. And so I feel like if COVID hadn't hit, mm-hmm. I don't know what would have happened, but we might have been like, those people that, he talks about living across the park. He had his apartment 3 streets down from me, and I had mine. and ne'er the two shall meet. It took a pandemic to get us to move in together.
Yeah.
It did, Kev.
But you're not in LA or New York.
No, and we did this. So we just
Nowhere near.
Nowhere near.
We
no.
said we were going to go for 10 days in 2020. I called my ex because I had my son there. He was trapped in the Hamptons. That sounds ridiculous, but he was, because he was on spring break when the whole thing hit. My daughter was living in Brooklyn at the time. I called my ex and I said, we got to get out of here. He's in LA doing his job. And I said, we got to get out of here. He goes, no doubt. I said, I don't want to drive 3 days to LA because that's at that time everyone was scared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to drive 3 days in a car. We were scared to pump gas.
Right.
So we always vacationed at South Seas. He would go
Okay.
golf. So we said, well, Florida's close. Picked up my daughter in Brooklyn. Picked up my son in Long Island, and we drove. Remember, we would wear gloves at the pump, and we didn't sleep for a whole night. And we rented this place in Cape Coral. We kept typing like Captiva for a house, and would take us to Cape Coral. Sanibel, it would take us to Cape Coral. We didn't know what the hell Cape Coral was. We just went, whatever, just get us out of here with people clapping and dying and meat trucks. So we drove, we got there, and the guy that we rented from was very cool. And we said 2 weeks. We never left. We rented that house for 8 months.
Wow.
Of course.
And we ended up selling the house and moving out of our apartment during those 8 months.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Good
And here
thing
we
you
are.
had each other.
Yeah, we got through it. No,
Yeah.
I was grateful that because a lot of people spent COVID alone. You
I know, it's scary.
Yeah, it was a scary time. In New York, it was awful.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was a lot better down here. People they think of COVID. They're like, oh, yeah, that was weird. People are traumatized in
Remember
in the
when
big
we saw
city.
toilet paper and we saw the grocery stores were open? We thought that was so wild.
Oh, yeah.
We
When
couldn't
we
get
came
toilet
down here,
paper.
we thought, oh, my God, the grocery stores are open.
We
yeah.
thought that was wild how many
Wild.
groceries were available.
Yeah.
The toilet paper was wild. It wasn't that kind of a disease. You didn't need toilet paper.
People lost
it
their
wasn't
minds
It
in the
wasn't
cities, you
diarrhea.
guys.
Come on.
People lost their minds in the cities. Like it
Yeah.
got really weird up there.
They got weird.
So I think it's always kind of interesting about the turns that life takes. Many which, a lot of people say they have a plan, except I think we all know in reality, if you look back, and not to sound like we're 150, but plans generally get blown up or never come to real fruition. Stuff comes up. So people move for jobs a lot, and you've had some job movements and your bi-coastal work and all this stuff, but you've also lived in relatively big cities. And I mean, to literally now from the alpha to and we love it here. Don't get us wrong, but
We do too,
What
yeah.
an interesting thing, because if you'd have asked me 30 years ago or something like that, I mean, we lived in Chicago and some other city, I would have never told you that I wanted to live in a small city. It just didn't come under the
Same.
register. But how things changed to know where you guys have come from, actually bigger cities, but you're now here and happy, and just how things change and the different culture. And well, I think I don't know, are we going back to small town America that maybe we had when we were kids? It's kind of interesting.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, she was just driving down here and she's like, my God, I love it here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think that, I think a lot of people have been disenchanted with the big cities. And, what COVID did was just like, I never want to be in a big city when that kind of thing happens.
You totally.
Yeah, I'd rather be in a small thing if that happens again, because so that's why I feel much more at ease here and less just stressed out.
We felt a lot safer, and we were living in Tampa area, but we were coming here on the weekends, and so then he could stay here the whole time. I was going back and forth for a few days, but it was like COVID wasn't happening. I mean, we stayed indoors,
Right.
and we only went out on our boat, and we learned to stream movies,
Right.
But we felt pretty safe on Pine Island.
I bet. We felt safe in Cape Coral.
We did.
We loved it. We had a pool there. He golfed at, what's that club you golfed at? That was really
Palmetto Pines.
Yeah, we just kind of
Yeah.
got a routine going.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
And then
No,
we
it was
yanked
good.
Leo out of school. I mean, he was...
Oh, you had to.
Well, he was going to high school. He was set to go to high school in New York where my daughter went. And we called the person, the headmaster, and she said, he won't see a classroom for over a year.
Yeah.
And his father and I said, no thanks, no sports, forget about it. And we love Bishop Rowe. I don't know if you know about it. It's a great Catholic school in Fort Myers.
Yeah.
Beautiful school, wonderful school. Best thing I ever did for my son.
So now you vacationed at South Seas. Is that when you first learned of Pine Island, or was it this accidental drive to avoid COVID?
We were already in Cape Coral. We decided we were going to sell the house and move out of the apartments. At that point, we thought we need to have some sort of base here. I wanted to take the money that I sold the house for and I wanted to put it into another property. We obviously built the one up north, but I also wanted to, have a base for my son. I knew I didn't want it to be Cape Coral. Kevin, I looked at Fort Myers. It's beautiful, a lot of beautiful places there as well, but I really wanted something a little more unique. A realtor said, well, you guys are artists. Can I drive you to this place called Mat Lachey? You might like it. And I went on it and I thought, this place is so wild. Like, I don't even know how to explain this place. It's not like it's like, well, because you can tell it's a combination of all over socioeconomically. There's very weird architect. It's not uniformed architecturally. Right. So I just thought this place is wild. And I told Kev, and then I swear to God, Kevin, I think I found the house, within one day with Amanda.
Fairly
Best
quick.
realtor, by the way. Shout out to Amanda. I think it took me one day to find the place we bought.
It did.
Yeah.
Very fast.
An artist was the right thing to say to you because we're surrounded by artists.
Yeah.
We talk to our neighbors. Oh, you're an artist? Oh, you're an artist? They're everywhere.
Yeah. We feel good about that.
Yeah.
We're not so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's nice to be, a lot of painters and that kind of thing, writers and that kind of thing. Yeah. That's what nice. Yeah.
And then from your, past lives, if you will, to the decision then to open your own business and have a retail facility, what was some of the thought process and that led you to that?
Once again.
Well, he's gone a lot. And my son is now like barely talking. I mean, he'll be like, hey, hello, goodbye. I mean, he's like, hey, mom, bye, mom. It's
That's
a lot of alone time.
Yeah.
And we've also, in addition to like COVID, we've had the strike and there's all this distance from me being able to work because he can work anywhere. He needs an airport and he can go. Not as easy for me as a writer. And I know that, well, I want to be here for my son all the time. I don't want to do as much traveling. I go to New York, but not as, once a month, So I wanted something to do. That's really the long-winded way of saying that. While my son's finishing high school. After he's done, I don't know. But it's something that I thought would be really kind of cute and fun to do. And we could use it as an office, and it's just a nice way to tie me into the community. Kevin, why did you think we should open the boutique?
Because you wanted to do it.
I
I don't
right
know.
answer.
I don't want to say that I had a dream about opening a boutique.
I know.
Because, that wasn't really it. No. But I like it.
You do enjoy it, though. It's kind of.
I like it. I like people coming in there and see where they're from. And
you're a people person. So
I
you
am kind of a people person. I like it.
People's wandering.
Yeah, they all have different stories and that kind of thing. It's kind of fun.
It's your own kind of art to decorate. It's a form of art to curate items and to put it together. And actually, I have to give a shout out to Janine, who I know you've interviewed with Material Green.
Yes.
Because at one point we were kind of collaborating a little bit, but then the awful hurricane happened. And that just changed. That was another horrible change of weirdness. But, at that point, she needed to get to a space where she could really grow her business and do her fabrics. But, that in itself was its own art, putting together that building. It was in terrible shape. And her husband was so, wonderful how he put it together. So it's given me like an art project kind of. It's like a piece of art a little bit.
She's an artist. Her daughter's an artist.
Very talented family for sure. Very talented family. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love going into her store.
Beautiful store. She's a gorgeous space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it keeps us busy.
It does. It's a good place to go. And there's, with her unique vision, there's a lot of fun stuff in there. And we got all kinds of different things.
You do. And that's incredible. You have all kinds of things. People would love that.
Yeah, we have kids, we have pets, we have candy. Yeah. We have, and then, some of the adult like soaps and creams and jewelry.
And you have Mat Lachey coffee, I heard.
Yeah, we love them. Yeah, we have coffee and God, we have a little bit of everything.
They got that from the Perfect Cup.
Yeah, toys and clothes and art and little art supplies and a little bit of everything.
And you have all these rooms to wander around in. It's delightful. And I love the location. You're right in the center of things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I guess that used to be a hotel where in the middle there was.
Really?
Yeah, and those were all cabins, I think, around the hotel.
But previous to us, it was a cigar.
It was a cigar shop.
That was never open.
Oh.
No. But yeah, that was a cigar shop.
Yeah.
For,
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's right in the four-stop, where everybody goes. Yeah.
And you told me when we were in the Salt and Poppy was your dog? I think you told me.
Yeah, Poppy is one of our dogs.
We have a lot of dogs.
A lot of dogs.
7 little ones.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper, and pop. Why can't I say it now?
Salt and Poppy.
No, but
Poppy.
what's our dog? Pepper and Poppy.
Pepper.
Poppy and Pepper.
Yeah.
We have a lot of dogs, but yeah.
Yeah. So we just thought she did Salt and Poppy would be.
It's
I
adorable.
just thought it was cute, like salt, like taffy, salt, the salt water, and then Poppy. I like the name. I don't know, it's just a crazy little name. I thought
It's
was fun.
cute. You're going to remember it.
I do like it. Yeah.
It's a beautiful building too. I like the bright yellow.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Given that variety, are there things that sell better than others, or?
Yes.
What sells most, I think.
What are the most? Now you
I would
just
say
opened.
yes, but I think we're first of all, he's very smart because he knew right away that I was lacking. I wanted to do things that were really true to what I like, which is a little more of city weird, stuff that's a little more off the beaten path. Like, what are those two twins, those twins that used to be in Full House? Oh, Mary Kate and Ashley.
Yes.
Like, I have this print of Mary Kate and Ashley smoking a cigarette. Like, I love it. Most of the people here don't really want that. It's not really their pacing, But I'm like, oh, I love this. This is so cool, right? And he's like, let's kind of try to market, because he's a marketing, by the way, master's of marketing. He was kind of like, let's get a little more stuff that appeals to the demographic.
Yeah.
So I had to bring in the pie line and stickers and think about fish soap,
Right.
things that you like, people that get the smell off your. I just ordered those shirts that where you don't get a sunburn.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He's reeled me in from the La La Land of paper dolls of Nancy Reagan. He's like, okay, let's try to bring it in a little bit.
And we
But I
get
will
these-
say he's right. So I get a lot of island sales. Pajamas seem to do well.
Yeah.
What else, Bird? Paper stuff.
Some of our
cards
sweatshirts and stuff.
Well, your
Yeah.
merch kind of people like the
Yeah,
Farley merch.
I sell Farley t-shirts. So those.
You just said Farty, by the way.
Did I?
Yeah.
Farley.
That's hilarious.
Farley.
Well, I used to be called that in grade school at Edgewood.
What?
No, they call me. Can I say? I don't know. Fartley. They call me that.
I don't think fart is. It's like that's pretty much a G word.
Yeah, it is.
It's
okay.
a silly word for our age, but
Right.
Yeah.
they did. I
They
never
did.
knew that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That hurts my feelings.
I used to be told, Michelle went to the bathroom. Michelle went to the boys' room. Michelle went to
I'm going to
the...
use that. No, that's a
also
good one.
stupid.
Yes.
But I think you bring up something interesting because I think the challenge is, and you can see it in non-retail environments.
Yeah.
Even we were both in healthcare business, but people invariably subconsciously would talk about things that they wanted. And you had to find a way to politely remind them the reason we're employed is to sell stuff to other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we don't sell it to ourselves.
Yes.
We're selling it to other people.
Yes.
So your point on, and I think you come here and people think palm trees. Now, as I understand it, palm trees are not native to Florida, and particularly this is called Pine Island, which should be a hint. I think it was mostly pine trees or whatnot.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I heard that, I'm going to forget the guy that did the railroad that kind of started tourism that goes down to Key West.
Okay.
Flagler kind of did the East Coast, and then the other gentleman did the West Coast. I think some of that was brought in to help get people to come and spend vacations here before Florida was a vacation.
Oh.
So now
Yeah.
you think about, kind of the roughed up wooden signs and it's 5 o'clock somewhere and palm trees and alligators and those kinds of things,
Yeah.
For people that don't live here all the time. I think that's something they're going to pick up.
Not only you right, but I did something he thought was so weird, which I was like getting this weird syndrome of when something, because I curate 1 or 2 pieces. We don't sell enough to get like 50 of something. That's not going to happen. Maybe his merch and that's it. But otherwise it's like I get one of something, 2 of something. That's it. So sometimes when certain things leave, I'm upset. And he's like, you're not, that's weird. Like, why are you upset? I'm like, oh, we sold that? I'll say that's so sad. And he'll say, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I say, because I love it, because I'm doing what you're doing. I'm buying it, I guess, for me to look at because I think it's cute. So that's not really good business. I'm not a
it's
very
an
good
odd
business
thing.
person, I just realized.
Well, definitely not.
Well, if someone wants to buy it and you say, oh, that's not for sale.
No, I can't do it because that's
You've
great.
had a few things in there.
There's a few things I naturally don't want to sell. Like
We have a rug that 6 people have picked up, and I'm like, can we sell this? No.
Because it covers a really ugly spot because our building does leak. Hence Janine going by.
Yeah.
There's a little part.
There's a little leak
when
there.
it rains. Like now we should do it. I forgot right now. We didn't do it.
It didn't rain enough.
Okay, but we have to put buckets in certain
no.
areas
Wow.
when we know it's going to hit. And it kills the design or leaves little spots.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to buy that little carpet. Everybody wants it. I can't do it.
Everybody wants it, yeah.
So you've not been open that long, but with what you've done so far, are there other things that you're thinking about or planning in terms of, the business and your approach or carrying different items or expansion or anything?
Definitely not expansion. I think.
Not yet.
Yeah, no.
Had to throw the E word in there for you.
Yeah.
No, because guys, I mean, we've already, because of who he is, we've had some generous press, thanks to him. Well, also by mistake that someone drove through one of the buildings.
Yes,
that was also.
I was there. That
Were you
day.
there?
So crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we
It was
were
on the
in
news for
Street
it.
Eats.
Yeah,
and
the
we saw
news
the
got
cart
me.
coming out.
Oh, yeah.
They were coming to our shop.
Oh no.
That's the thing. So where was I? Nashville?
Yeah,
Oh,
might
you
have been,
missed
yeah.
it?
I was working in Nashville. I was directing
Wow.
something. So I was working.
I was manning the shop.
And he was manning the shop for me. And he says to me, Bird.
I said, it sounded like a garbage truck outside, I don't know what it was. Then I went outside and I see this car in the middle of the middle
She's
of the
okay.
building.
That's why we're laughing. Everybody's fine.
She was
That would
fine.
not be
In
funny
fact, she was so
otherwise.
fine. She's like, oopsie.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
She said, oopsie.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my gosh, I drove through the building. I go, are you all right? She's like, yes,
She
I'm
was
fine.
lucky.
I hit
No,
the
she's
gas.
fine, or this would not be a light story. She's fine, thank God.
She is.
But
yeah.
what was the humorous part is not that poor woman or her insurance, or God forbid she went through anything. But what's funny is that he says to me, I was on the news.
I was on the news.
And I go, what do you mean? So it's him and the guy running our favorite taco truck on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, well, this is some kind of a weird PR. Great. People think it's bad luck. Come to us. They drive through buildings. But that created because he had a very young reporter that interviewed him and she didn't recognize him. I mean, he's not, it's not like you're,
Oh, you're kidding.
Chris Pratt.
No,
so
yeah.
it's like, but people who are older might recognize his name or Chris, but younger people, it's too old for them. So she got back to the station and the guy said, hang on a minute. Her news director said, hang on a minute. Is that Kevin Farley? Why is he there? What's going on?
Yeah.
Why is he running a boutique? What's happening? Get back out there and interview him.
Yeah.
So we got free press from that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But the point of bringing that up is no expansion because it hasn't it's not like we've had a wave of people.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Or they do just to meet him and then they don't buy anything.
Well, you could have been
sometimes.
writing the comedy on Facebook. They were saying, we said roundabout would never work. See? And another one said, at least it's a drive-through.
That's good.
Yeah, I thought maybe you were helping with it. or something.
It's just so funny though. And when you said young reporter, I remember years ago that you did this very tongue in cheek. No, not a comedian.
Yeah.
You'd see at tongue in cheek. You'd say, Paul McCartney was in a band before Wings, and people of our generation go, ha ha ha, not really very funny. And right before I retired, I said something about offhand conversation. I said, something about Paul McCartney, and they go, he was. And I'm like, oh my God, you forget how young people are and different interests,
Oh,
and
I
they're
know.
attached
And
to
it happens fast.
smartphones and
Yeah.
holy cow. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
if nothing else, back in the day, when you heard a last name or something like that, you immediately wanted to try to connect and say, are you related to, we happened to be at a pool in Phoenix and the gentleman's last name was Selleck. Well,
Tom.
somebody asked, is his dad?
Yeah. It is?
It was his father.
that's hilarious.
He was there for a small convention. We
It
were
was
setting
Tom
up for a
Selleck.
convention.
That's
It was
funny.
Tom Selleck's
Funny.
father. But
Yeah.
that, at least to me, that was never unusual. When you hear a name
Yeah.
that had that kind of,
Yes.
notoriety, you'd say, oh, are you related
Yeah.
to in any way or something like that? And now it just seems to be
Well, we talk endlessly about the idea that celebrity is kind of disappearing because I know this from having a younger kid at home, even my daughter being 25 and my son being 18, it's a huge, it's like a cavernous difference between the interest, even 7 years, how fast it's moving.
Mm-hmm.
And my son and his friends in New York, LA, even it's not a regional thing. They could care less about like we used to have like celebrities and we'd get folders of them and posters, they could care. It's like TikTok, sports, like they don't even care.
I was going to say the so-called influencers.
Yeah, is it
I'm
the
not
influencers?
sure where that term came from.
Yeah.
And I'm
Right.
not sure.
Yeah,
Because
well,
they're internet.
the internet. Yeah, the internet kind of smashed celebrityism
Traditional.
because even like Leo's age, he probably just looks at everybody. Anybody can be famous with the internet. So
Yeah.
the old celebrity is gone. Yeah.
Plus, everyone became too accessible. Now you see everybody, even celebrities, I think, have ruined their own celebrity by being so accessible. Like, we don't need to see every celebrity in their home cooking in sweatpants. Everything's so accessible. There's all the mysteries gone. They used to, remember, like, Joan Crawford was shrouded in her house and dressed before. It was ridiculous. There's no mystery. Nobody cares. The jig is up. Everybody sees behind the curtain of Oz.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Robin something did the famous homes, remember? But that was the first.
Robin Leach.
Robin Leach, one of the very first insights I think we had into celebrities' homes. Because before it was just a mystery, right?
Right.
You'd have a map that was generally fake.
Yep, right.
Exactly.
And then Cribs came along from MTV, and that really screwed things up too.
Right.
MTV Cribs.
MTV Cribs.
What was that VH1? Who did
No, it was
Cribs
MTV
first?
Cribs.
You have a good memory because I've forgotten that one, but it's true.
MTV
That's good to know
Cribs.
because I've been feeling like I've been losing it. Yeah, MTV Cribs.
Well, if we go back to the boutique now, how do people get a hold of you if they want to find out about the boutique and hours and days of the week, et cetera?
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you're asking us that because we've been horrible with that. Should we talk about that a little bit?
Our hours?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to say this if I may. I'm going to give my phone number because whatever, it's fine, But I'm going to say it really.
You want to do that?
It's already on the door, sweetheart.
Yeah, I know.
Not
but
yours, mine.
This is the internet here.
No, but who cares? And what's going to happen? So
Well.
I think that I need to say this though. Please text me. Don't call me. I wrote text only. No one texts me. They only call
Really?
about the store. And I never answer the phone because I don't like to answer unidentified phone calls.
Right.
So that's why I say I text like a teenager. I'll text, we text.
Yeah.
I will text immediately. Hey, your store open? I'd like to bring it open. Come and see. But I won't answer the calls. Having said that, in terms of hours, we have set hours. Although sometimes if I'm working, like I was in Nashville, he's out of town, we will put gone for event, which is true.
Okay.
And then we'll say we'll be back the day we're back. But also because of the way it's getting slower, and like we had a plumbing issue today, we'll be right back. That's why I wish they'd text me because we might shorten our hours a bit, but I'll drive down and we live by Tarpon Lodge. I'll take the 8-minute drive and open up the store, if someone wants to come and see it. So that's a really weird answer, but what do you think about that
But
answer,
our
Bert?
hours normally are,
You want to say them?
if I remember them, Monday through, Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 5.
No. Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5. Saturday, 11 to 4, because I go to Mass at the Miraculous
That's
Medal.
right.
I go to the Saturday Mass because I don't like to wake up on Sundays.
That's true.
So I do my Saturday Mass at 4 o'clock.
At the
Miraculous Medal.
Yeah. So
that's why it's an hour earlier.
Understood.
Yeah.
It's been most enjoyable. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
We
our
love it
pleasure.
here. We love the people. It's so fun. We love it.
Yeah.
I love that your husband's like giving the rap. By the way, it's so funny. He's giving the rap sign. Rap.
We hope you enjoyed our Pine Island Experience podcast. If you have any ideas for us, people to interview, or any comments, please feel free to email them to us at pineislandexperience@gmail.com. That's pineislandexperience, all one word, @gmail.com. Don't forget to like us, and you may subscribe to this podcast using all the major catchers like Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks again for listening, and remember, island life is a constant vacation. We'll see you on the next podcast.